and welcome to Mike's Basement. As you know, I'm Michael, and today we are playing Euro Truck Simulator 2. And there is a very special reason for that. Well, first of all, of course, because I like the game. Otherwise it would be, well, in some sense stupid of me to play it if I didn't like it. But the big thing is that I have finally, one, gotten the time to play some games, and two, I have finally gotten myself a microphone stand with a boom arm, so I can actually get the microphone close to my head and play at the same time. Now, the only thing is that the wire for, or the cord for the microphone is going, well, across my chest, and that means that when I drive around with the steering wheel, I might accidentally bump into the wire at some points. And because this is a connector to a pair of USB headsets, my old headset were broken on vacation, so I'm using some on-ear Bluetooth headset. They're called Harlem, something like that. And they have sort of a USB connector in the one end and the normal jack stick in the other end, and then I use that to hear what is going straight out from the microphone when I play. But other than that, well, let's see how it goes. First, I'm going to read this little mail here. Hi, boss. More companies would like to hire your professional skills behind the wheel for some special deliveries. Just as last time, it won't be easy and it'll require some skill, patience, cooperation with escorting vehicles and extra care. But I guess you still have it all, am I right? And don't forget, there's still bigger profit for these cargoes. Along with the current available special transport jobs at Nice in France, Naples in Italy, Palermo in Italy, Nantes in France, Stavanger in Norway, Sheffield in Great Britain, and Reims in France. You can now also make new ones at Hjorthammen in Norway. Well, sounds good. But I don't think I'm going to do that right now. And we have this trusty old... not old, trusty old. We have this trusty Mercedes new actress here, and well, as you know, I have a Pro Mods installed, and fortunately, SES didn't make yet another new version of this game that invalidated the version of Pro Mods that I had. So we can play it. So let's get started. I just want to make sure that you know, if you hear some bumping around, it is most likely because I got to bump the microphone with the wire. I can actually move my arms around without hitting the microphone, but I'm not sure whether I get to bump the wire, and it's a pretty stiff wire, so every time I do something you can probably hear it. Now I am wondering, should we do World of Trucks delivery contracts, should we do external contracts, or freight market? Well, let's see what the freight market has to offer. So we are, well, because you know, new versions and install and blah 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 blah, all that, we are back at Copenhagen. Yeah. So we have a DSV, actually that is the Danish collective transport, I'm not sure what you call it. In Danish it's called Dansk Sammensluttet Vognmænd. So it's, it's contractors, I suppose you'd call it. Gives 21.37 per kilometer, and we have price per distance, so that's okay. One thing you do need to know when I play this is that, not world map. No, not world map. I don't have a pop filter in front of my microphone yet, so if you hear something, all the plosives, then, sorry. That will be the reason. I have the microphone sort of in an off axis compared to my mouth. So I will try to minimize all the plosives that I do, but you will probably hear some when I say probably and plosives and all that. We have a double trailer for 38.28, and that is from Örebro in Sweden. and Copenhagen. I'm going to call it Copenhagen because that's the name, but it is Copenhagen. Yeah. 23,000. Let's check the other one, freight market. And that was 15,000. But it's smaller, it's not a double trailer. Well, why not? Let's do an external contract. We have 22 hours to do it, so, well, I'm definitely going to try to do it within that. Let me see, yeah, 23 hours and 23,000. Post packages from Bring. Well, that is actually pretty funny because the company that delivered my microphone, sorry, not my microphone, my boom arm and my stand. Your modded truck or trailer is too long to safely fit as it is. Starting position for water. Please shoot another truck or trailer, then resume your... What? Huh? That was strange. Well, alright, I suppose I should have pressed the refresh before. This is a heavy load, right? Yeah, I don't want to do a heavy load, and it's 13,000. Alright, so that changes things a bit. Let's take this, and let's take this low bed semi-trailer, 11 and 15,000. Let's just take the external contracts one more time. Copenhagen, yeah, 13,000. That is settled then. We are going to do the low bed semi-trailer, blah, 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 blah. Let me see if I can remember the controls that I've set for my game. Free as the wind. Well, that certainly sounds... Nah, let's see. Why is it shaking like that? That's a bit strange. No, not... And let's see, let's take that away, and we need to... Let's see if I can avoid scratching. Oh, right. Of course, we need to rest. So that job will probably be gone by now. Let's check it out. We need to go to escape and job market and freight market. No, it's still there. It expires in 4 hours. We should be able to make that. Yes. All right. So I am going to do. Let's see if I can get my arm around that. Well, yeah, probably. We're going to see how it goes with that wire from the headset. So the thing is, no, yeah, that was the key I was wanting to have. All right, we're going to see how it goes, but break. Let's see if I can. Oh, come on. Let's see. Let's go. And hope that there wasn't one coming. See if I can remember where I put the... Yep. Well, I might have to go and look at how I set the controls at some point, but I'm not sure. Let's see. Alright, so what was it that I wanted to tell you? Well, I'm going to try to do some different things with my recordings. One thing is that, let's see if I can change the view to get up. And of course I need to turn. Sorry. I'm an ass, I know. Alright, so yeah. Let's see. Is here? No. Here? No. Yeah. Alright, so the thing is that I am currently using Bandicam to record my screen, And I'm pretty satisfied with that program. I think it has a lot of different opportunities, a lot of different options in order to make good recordings, so no problem there. But the thing is that I find it a little bit annoying that I'm outputting to an MP4 format, because that's the only way Premiere Pro can read the H.265 encoder encoder. And so, well, if you want to be exact, I'm using the MP4 container, because that's the only way that Premiere can read the. Did it turn green? I can't see. No, there it is. That's the only way that Premiere can read my videos when I'm using the H.264 format, encoder format. I could just as well record it in an AV or AVI container, but then I need to remux the video. It's a relatively simple process, it just takes some time, and I don't want to waste time on that. So here's the challenge. I am currently outputting so that I get the audio within the MP4 format, MP4 container, but the only way... What? Yeah, alright, fair enough. I thought it was green, I'm not sure what I looked at, to be honest. Yeah, that's... I'm off at a good start. Let me see if I can avoid any more going over red lights. So the thing is that the MP4 format cannot take linear PCM audio, and in my opinion that is, well, I'm not sure it's about opinions, but that is, from what I'm told, that is not from what I'm told, that is completely raw audio, so it's in a WAV file. But linear PCM is uncompressed direct audio that well, it's the closest thing that you can possibly get for getting the best audio quality that you can get out. Besides that, because Bandicam has the option that you can put out the raw audio to WAV files, and then of course it will also put in the audio you have in your in the MP4 files in itself. But in the MP4 file you can only use, and that is only with a very big O, only, as far as I know, use AAC, the Advanced Audio Codec, at 192 kilobit bitrate. Sorry, what's the word I was looking for? I think we're going, was it PostNord? I can't remember. Or was it DSV? Let me check. Job market. Freight market. There we go. Let me see. It was, oh, there it was. DSV. All right, so we need to go in here. All right, so the thing I want to test, as it is right now, freight market, and yes, I want to take that job, is to see whether using this, well, whether there is a discernible audio difference in quality between the AAC audio embedded in the MP4 file, or whether I should continue outputting the audio using a WAV file. Well, you could say, well, I'm an audio feinschmecker and I really love good audio, so obviously I should continue using the WAV file. Well, that wasn't exactly perfect. Let's see, is it F2? Yes, I can use that. Alright, let me see if I can get out of from here with this trailer. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. Let's hope I don't bump into anything while doing this little maneuver here. Let's see, how much space do I have? Can I get all the way around? Yeah, I should be able to go. Phew. Oh, I don't want to look to the side right now. So, well, yes, I'm going to test whether that makes a discernible audio quality difference, because if I can keep it to just recording one file, the video file, and then use that audio within there, and then also, well, of course, use Premiere Pro to sort of make that audio nice and crisp and set the levels and all that jazz. Well, even though it won't make it sort of what's the clock time right now? 21, so we need to have the light on. Even though it won't make sort of it's not a huge difference, right? It's not because it is, it's not because it's a deal breaker of any sorts that I need to do it like this. That I need to take first get the video file, the video from the MP4 file, and then put in the wave audio file. It's not a big problem. It's just like anyone else. I want to try to make my workload as light as possible doing these things, because I'm a tech guy, right? And I'm a nerd, and I'm all those things. I'm a geek, and you can call me all sorts of things in that sense. And I admit it. I readily admit it. I am a tech nerd like nobody else you have ever known. And so I also enjoy editing videos. I enjoy being creative in that sense, trying new things, and that is also why I want to, well, try this, see whether this audio codec whether it makes a difference in audio quality, because I could definitely try to put it into some kind of program and try to see if it can find any artifacts in the AAC file compared with the WAV file, and obviously there should be some, because AAC is a lossy format and I'm not recording it, well, Bandicam cannot record at higher bitrate than 192 kilobits per second. So in that sense, you could say there should be some artifacts. There should be a difference. But one thing is difference in quality. I wouldn't call it in an academic sense, because it's not an academic maneuver or work. But more so, you could say there should be a technical difference. So if you sort of take the numbers and compare them by bitrate or bitwise, there should be a difference. Of course there should be. But one thing is whether there's a difference in the technical part of it. The other is whether there's a discernible difference, that you can actually hear a difference. And I must admit, even though I don't have the greatest set of headsets right now, if I can't hear any difference at all between the two kind of audio files, then why in the world should I waste time and probably also, I wouldn't call it energy, but resources, computer resources, both space-wise on the hard drive, but also in the sense of in the sense of computer resources to output WAV files, if it doesn't make a darn difference quality-wise. Because that's why I do it. I don't do it because I want to have two different files to work with. I really don't. I don't really care. But I do it because I want to have the greatest quality I can possibly get. That's my motive for doing things like this. But if there's no noticeable difference, remember that I output my audio files in a specific way. I do it, well, in this case I do it, like I said, to a WAV file, and then with... you are idiot. I do it, like I said, output it to a WAV file, and then... let me see, didn't I put in the... okay. That was definitely not the right key. Let me see. Yeah, we're going this way. To Rødby. Or what? Yeah, I think so. Oh, there's something I forgot. I need to pull over at some point. Blah, 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 blah. I need to pull over at some place. Because I forgot to engage the audio. There is a audio GPS now, so you can actually get the GPS to tell you what to do. Yeah, so I'm going to enable that, and then I'm going to check whether I get some relatively noticeable reductions in frame rate I am not used to seeing. But well, yeah, let me see if I can figure that out. All right, let's see. There we go. 80 kilometers per hour. That's the way. So yes, I can talk. Well, one of the things I can say is that I am a quality, and also you could say a audiophile and videophile feinschmecker. I don't want to brag, because it's not like I sort of have really expensive equipment. I have a surround system that I like. I have pretty decent loudspeakers. I think it's 6-inch woofers and a mid-tone, high-tone element in them. So it's not like it's sort of a wow speakers, right? It's not like something like $10,000 per speaker or something like that. I don't have that expensive equipment. I don't have a 60-inch flat screen or something like that. I think ours is a 32-inch, so it's Sony, relatively owned Sony. So I'm not a feinschmecker in that sense, but when I record something, for instance, when I record movies, like when I do my lectures or when I do my flat earth videos, but also when I record games like this, I try to be quite observant or sort of aware of the quality that I record in. So my usual sorry, I just do something else here. My usual MO is to go lossless all the way. So I could actually record my games at using the NVIDIA encoder lossless compression in the H.264 format. I could do that. No. And maybe I should stop talking and concentrating on driving. Oh, I'm not sure also. I'm sorry if I'm sort of distracted. But I'm not sure whether I told you in the last video. I'm pretty sure that I did, because I tend to say this every time I play this game. But well, I suppose that anyone would agree on this, actually. I find it to be very funny and also interesting in some sort of a strange way to drive around in my own country. And I know, compared to American Truck Simulator, which I also have, and well, in general, driving cars, trucks, stuff in the US, Denmark is sort of like a stroll in the park. It's a really small country. So driving around here, well, It's pretty fast. It's sort of like, especially in this game, sort of like you start the truck and then you drive a little bit. You can see this trip here in Denmark, going from Copenhagen to Rødby or Gæsser, would probably take in the order of 1.5, 2 hours, something like that. I think that's it, right? And I have been playing now for 25 minutes, and also been talking a bit about different things here. So yeah, it doesn't go that fast in reality, I can say that. But I do think that it's interesting to drive around in my country, and I can sort of say, well, I've actually lived. You saw back there, it says it's at Vordingborg. I've actually lived there when I studied to become an elementary school teacher. I lived in that city. It's a very small city, really sort of well, to be honest, boring city. Compared to Copenhagen, it's a boring city. It's really boring. Sorry, Vordingborg, but that's just the way it is. Alright, back to track about what I wanted to say in the first place. So, the thing is... Oh yes, I just remembered something, but I'm not going to say that right now. So I would try my best. First, I used the Fraps recorder, and I have to say I was actually pretty satisfied with it. The only thing was that I couldn't get it to record my microphone and the game audio in two different tracks, or two different. Alright, so now I need to, well, only Rostock, so well, it's just, guess it. Alright, so now that we are parked here, I'm just going to go and enable the audio GPS and try to see if I can figure out why I'm getting reduced frame rate. So I will be back in a second. Alright, so now we are back, and let me see if I can, there we go. And I have tried to reduce some of the graphics, not the quality, but the resolution. I'm going for 100% resolution. Let's see if that makes a difference. And now we have voice GPS enabled. I actually didn't see where we're going to deliver this, so that's going to be interesting. Oh yes, so where I was. Well, like I said, I used Fraps before.
Get ready to turn left.
Okay, I used Fraps before, Fraps before I changed to Bandicam, and the only reason I changed from Fraps, it's going so well, this. The only reason I changed from Fraps to Bandicam was that Bandicam can record two separate tracks. So I can record the game audio track, and I can also record the microphone audio track at two separate instances. And that's what I need. That's what I want. So that's why I changed.
Get ready to turn right.
But again, I would want to go lossless all the way, because I think it's a good sort of practice. Oh, that was a plosive there. I think it's a good practice that you sort of always go down in quality. So you start at the highest amount of quality that you can possibly get, and then you sort of reduce quality every time you output, not yet, every time you output your things, your stuff, so that you don't, for example, go from low quality to lower quality, but
then
rather
turn left.
Yeah, okay. Rather go from, I'm going to talk totally over her.
Turn left.
Oh yes. Stop. But that you more go from high quality to low quality to lower quality, and so on and so forth. So that you don't try to make your low quality recording in higher quality, if that makes sense. That you always go towards the highest, that you start with the highest amount of quality that you can get, and then you can always reduce the quality you want or you need, if you will. And I think that's, generally speaking, a good practice. But the problem is that it's not that practical, to be honest. And why is it not practical, you could ask? Well, it's simply because it takes up hard disk space. Well, that's one thing. I have a 600 gigabyte hard disk, so that's not really an issue. But the more issue is that I haven't really transitioned, again, to sort of emphasize that I don't have super high quality, super good equipment. All my disks in my computer, and I mean all my disks, are hard drives. I don't have a single SSD. And that means when I record something, I think, because I think my graphics card is able to handle it, and I definitely also think that the processor, the CPU in my system is able to handle it. But I don't think that my hard drives are able to handle that massive amount of data that they get when you change to a lossless. Well, I can say that much, that using the NVIDIA encoder and using the high 444 lossless H264 codec, that definitely seems to give me choppiness in the recording, and that is only when I'm recording. And I do believe that it's because the NVIDIA encoder cannot sort of ship off the frames quick enough to the hard drive, to the system, and then it sort of becomes a bottleneck in its sense. So the optimal thing would be to get a relatively big recording hard drive and then have a normal disk drive to store the data on. So I had to reduce. I'm currently using the NVIDIA High 444 encoder. That means that it doesn't compress the color data, but it does compress the overall data that you get from your from the video. So it's a lossy compression method.
Keep left.
Okay, and I set it at 80% quality because that is sort of the trade-off that I can live with. Also, I am currently outputting the audio to the WAV files, like I said, but also getting the audio data within the video file or the container itself. And here's the deal. If I were to make a DVD with my games, I would definitely go for lossless recording all the way. I would definitely go for lossless audio recording, and then I would output to the maximum amount of data that I can possibly put down on that DVD. But the thing is, I am not outputting to a DVD, I'm outputting to YouTube. And when you upload, anyone who has worked with YouTube knows this, but when you upload a video to YouTube in itself has its own compressional methods, and it compresses the heck out of your video. So even if you have decent quality in your recording, when you record, you might end up getting seriously bad quality on your YouTube video, simply because YouTube compresses it. So here's the deal. The trade-off is that if you're going from lossless to reasonable quality to really bad quality, then it might be a good idea to consider, which I've done, to go from acceptable quality. Well, it's late here, so I can't speak even. Acceptable quality to not so acceptable quality to usable quality, or something like that. And that is why on the video part that I ended where I ended, and now I'm going to check whether I'm simply just going to play some of my voice or some of the game on the file from the video, and then I'm going to just a raw one so I can compare it apples to apples, and then compare it to the wave. And if I can't hear any difference, if any of you have tried to, and you probably have, to sort of rip a DVD to MP3, and then you set it at something like 92 kilobits per second, something like that, 70 something, 64 perhaps, then you can definitely hear there's some weird swooshing in it, and those are, well, that's the best way I can describe it. But it is in reality, it's artifacts from the compression. So the compression is not perfect, and then it removes so much data, then you get these hearing sensible quality artifacts in your audio track. But as you increase the bit rate, then those artifacts disappear, and what you end up with is sometimes, depending on the codec, you can end up with the audio just losing something in the very high end and something in the low end. That's usually where the audio codecs try to cut out, because those are the less discernible frequencies that we humans are sensible to. So if you cut out some of the mid-range, you will hear it right away. But if you try to cut out some of the low end and some of the high end, you won't hear it as much. Especially if you consider that the MP3 format was used mostly in MP3 players, where you usually use those little earbuds. And well, you can get good earbuds now, but at that time, when the MP3 format was introduced, the earbuds wasn't that good. So there was not much bass in them, and the high end was also, well, relatively bad. Not bad, but better than. But if you put on an MP3 file and compare it to a CD on a really high-end hi-fi stereo set, you should be able to hear slight differences, but you need to have your ears with you. So that was sort of the prelude to, I think I'm going to be in here. That was sort of the prelude to what I'm going to talk about here, because
keep left.
If I can hear, yeah, I'm going to keep left. If I can hear those audio artifacts from my recording, then I will definitely highly consider, sorry, I'm driving completely illegal right now. Then I would definitely consider going just with the embedded audio in the MP4 file and just scrub the WAV files, because I don't need them. It's not that they don't, well, if I make a, let's say something like a 20 gigabyte, yeah, right. No, yeah, let's say not 20 gigabyte, that's probably a little bit, if I make a 100 or 150 gigabyte video file, video recording of my games, I will probably end up having the, I'm going too fast. There we go. I will probably end up having the, I'm still getting, wow, right. I will probably end up getting the audio files being something like 3, maybe 5% of that size. It's not that
keep
much.
Left.
It's not because of a size issue that I really want to stop using the external WAV files. It's simply well, what can I say? It's just to make my workflow a little bit easier. If I can just drag the entire file into the timeline, then it's easier for me to edit it. I don't need to or have to sort of put in several files. I know it's a matter of comfortable and in some extent also laziness. You could say that in this case, I would say that in this case, in this exact case, laziness is a good thing. Because why not be lazy about those kind of things, whether you have to drag in several files or have to shift around files and edit in several programs and all those things. If you can keep to just one file with all the audio and all the video that you need, and then keep your attention on doing the creative stuff. Because in reality, the reason why I make videos for YouTube in every case here is because I want to do some creative work. It's not because I want to
Keep left.
shift files around all the time. It's because I want to be creative and try new things. Sometimes try new things, but not always. And that's my main reason for doing things like this. Yeah, so that's my motive, if you will. And I can see right now that I need to go and check, in some sense, why I get a reduced amount of quality. I hit. Sometimes I go below the 60 frames per second, and sometimes I go a little above, and that annoys me. It's not really a problem in that sense, but it annoys me a little bit. So, nevertheless, that's the reason. That was a very long talk. Well, what else do we have to do when we drive around here, right? That was a relatively long talk about how I want to do things with my videos. Yeah, one thing that I also really like, I can feel that right now, is that having this microphone so close to my mouth means that I don't have to speak that loudly, and that gives my voice a little more it's more comfortable to talk in this level here, instead of having to talk louder, because then I can reach the microphone standing far away from me. I like that. So yeah, that's what I'm going to try in this video here. And maybe I will actually also try in the end to render 2 full videos. Yeah, keep right.
Keep right.
Yes.
And then turn right.
Yes. Render 2 files.
Turn right.
I am going to render 2 files. One with the AAC audio in, and one with the wave audio in. Then upload them to YouTube, probably as private videos, because there's no reason for you to well, then I had to make a test, right, to upload 2 videos, then ask you whether you can hear the difference. I won't say what is what. I'll just upload the videos, and then you can sort of vote or whatever you want, write in the comments which one you think is the good one and which one you think is the bad one. So that might be one way for doing things. But other than that, I don't think. The thing is, I have to check for myself. I think that's my sort of main motive. I want to check for myself whether I think I'm getting a lot of choppiness now. That's annoying, and I'm not sure why. Let's see. No, we don't need fuel, and that's too late now anyway. Let me just check whether we need to sleep. That is 6, right? 5 hours, and how much do we have left? 3 hours, so it's just going to be just on the nose. But 1 trip, that's okay. So yeah, I just want to make sure that the quality that I output is reasonable for the format that I'm outputting to. I'm outputting to YouTube, so obviously I want my format in YouTube. I want my format when I upload to YouTube to give the highest possible quality in YouTube. And well, that is easily done because YouTube is compressing the videos like crap, to be honest. But nevertheless, there is a very famous sentence or saying: if you put crap in, then you will probably also get crap out, or you will.
Keep
so
right.
If you put crap into YouTube, then you will definitely get crap out of YouTube. If you put excellent things into YouTube, then you will get, well, less crap out of YouTube. So I know I have said this a lot of times, and I enjoy saying it every time I drive this game here, or every time I play this game. What I really enjoy about playing Euro Truck Simulator 2 with the Pro mods installed is that, well, obviously it gives a heck of a lot of content for the game, which eventually is very nice. You will get a you'll get a map that is extremely expanded. You'll have a lot of a lot of content in it, and that's nice because then you can drive more, you can see more. But the real thing is, I sense that the people that make pro mods, they really care about this. And they care enough in a high enough degree that they will spend hours and hours and hours upon hours for making this content here for us, for me, for you to play for relatively few money. I don't actually think that they make any money on pro mods. I think that the only money that they get, which is optional, you don't have to pay them a dime for getting pro mods, but I do it in order to sort of, well, at least pay a symbolic...
Keep right, and then exit right.
A symbolic amount of money, because it's very little money. I think it's something like $7 or something like that. It amounts to, I think it's 15 Danish kroner or something like 30, something like that. I can't remember, but it's very little for the entire pro mods plus the trailer package, and that's it. And I think I find that to be extremely cheap. It's so, and pro mods is just not a little mod that sort of adds a little bit here and there, a little bit better graphics. It's actually a mod that adds an incredible amount of content for the game. You get, I'm not supposed to go in there, I think. You get an extremely expanded map, which small roads. I have driven around in some of the old East Bloc countries on roads that would make most Americans shit their pants. I kid you not, in a truck. They are so incredible small. I can tell you a little anecdote. Be aware, it's time for anecdotes. One of the things is that my wife and I, we at some point agreed that we wanted to go on vacations in Europe, in different countries in Europe. And the first vacation that we did in Europe, well, the very first was we visited my parents-in-law in France. They had booked a hotel at some of their friends, and of course, we went about and saw France and drank some wine and all those things you do in France. But the first vacation that we did as a family with our 2 children on our own was a trip to Austria. And we decided that in order to see as much as Austria as possible, and also have the control of when and where we did things, we decided that we want to do a driving vacation. So we put all our stuff, and trust me, there was a lot, all our stuff into our station wagon, and then we drove all the way from Denmark to Austria. And at that point we didn't really know how to do things. Well, obviously we knew how to drive a car, otherwise it would be terrible. But other than that, we didn't have any real experience in doing driving vacations in any sorts, other than of course driving around in Denmark. But that's totally different, because then you know the signs and you know the roads and you know all those things. And to be honest, if you set your mind for it, I think you can sort of experience all of Denmark in a car in a couple of weeks or something like that. You need to put your mind to it and drive every day, but then I'm pretty sure you can see all of Denmark in one day. But other than that, so that was I digress. That was the first real vacation we did on our own as a family. And because we really didn't know good ways to take, we relied totally on our GPS. And our GPS selected the shortest route, which went through, Prague. And we went the city Prague, of course. We went relatively close to Prague, in Czechia. That was the name of I just forgot the name of the country. Czechia. Not Czechoslovakia. Really, don't use that word. I know that many people in the US and perhaps even in Britain, they haven't really gotten used to the fact that Czechia and Slovakia has separated. So I can assure you that both Slovakians and Czechs will be extremely angry if you call it Czechoslovakia. Also because there's some, bad feelings involved in that country, because it was sort of a forced marriage, if you will. Nevertheless, we went through Czech, and we went through relatively close to Prague. And while Prague is an old and very lovely city, they still have a distinct reminiscent of the old East Country. What did that car just do? Well, that's, I suppose, is another way of driving, just sliding around. Oh, I digress again. Nevertheless, we went very close. Actually, we went through Prague. And at some point on that route, there was maintenance of the road work. And so they have cut off some of the lanes, and obviously if you take a 4-lane or 3-lane motorway or highway, and then you cut off one lane and you still want to have 3 rows of cars, you have to make the other 2 lanes much smaller. So they did that. And I tell you, my wife was almost, I'm sorry for bad language, but I don't know how else to
At the roundabout, take the 3rd exit.
Say this. She, I kid you not, almost shit her pants. We drove in Prague, close to that, in that area where they worked on the roads.
Exit now.
Yes, I will. And we drove so close to a truck that you could open the window and then stick out your arm and then knock on the door on that truck. Well, of course, the lowest part of the truck, but nevertheless, you could touch the truck. It was
Keep right,
that close.
and then turn right.
And my wife really, really didn't like it. It didn't annoy
Turn
me
right.
as much as it did her. I wasn't fond of it because, if that truck, if he just pulled, I don't know, probably something like a couple of meters
Get ready to turn left.
the wrong way, we would get crushed. And there was absolutely nothing we would be able to do about it because, yes sir, yes ma'am, because there was cars.
This is where it ends.
Oh. I think she sounds very melancholic. So this is where it ends. It's all over. Oh no. Oh well. Let's continue the fun anecdote because I'll just turn that off. See if we can use the side mirror here to see where I'm going with this trailer here. So I think this is the right way. See if I'm on the right track. Oh yeah, somewhat. Seems to be okay. See if I can. Oh, not that okay. But it's a good starting point. All right. Nevertheless, the anecdote. Yes. So that is why I just said that some of the roads here in Denmark or in Europe are so close together, put together, that I would argue that many Americans who aren't used to that will shit their pants on driving these roads, because there is, if you compare, and I'm not sure how accurate American Truck Simulator is compared to how American roads really look like, but if you compare the American roads with the European roads, you have an extreme amount of space to drive around on. Well, and I'm talking about the lanes here. The lanes in Denmark and in Europe at all, they are actually okay wide. They're sort of like 1.5 car, perhaps even 2 cars wide. But when you sit inside it, and even if you went out on that road, and funny enough, we actually went to Prague. I didn't really see that here in the game. But funnily enough, I think that if you... so let's check the fragile cargo. So we can take that as all. Also. Alright, so I think this is going to be the end of this episode here. I'm just going to check what kind of job... Well, I don't need to check the job market, but because we have to sleep. But in order to sort of round off that anecdote that you got here last, the roads in Denmark and in Europe, especially in yeah, I do know that I have a world of contracts, but... And that is, I'm going to abandon it, yes, because I know for a fact that I can't do, I just remembered that I can't do external contracts, World of Truck contracts, when I'm also using Pro mods. Nevertheless, where was I? Yes. So the point of the story is that compared to European roads, comparing American roads to European roads, I honestly think that most Americans, if you just took an American and put him from US in a car into in a car in Denmark or in Europe in that sense, for that matter, he would probably not shit his pants, but just an expression, right? But he would probably not be comfortable driving like that at first, because, well, like I said, the roads are, to be honest, really tight, and there's not that much room. All right, so that was it. A little trip here, and I want you, first of all, I want you to notice something very, very important. The silence. I am honestly, I haven't, obviously because I'm recording right now, I haven't heard my recording, but from what I can hear in my headphones when I'm connected to the Yeti, as far as I can hear it, there wasn't any discernible noise from my steering wheel. So that was the main reason I did this, because now I have gotten my microphone completely away from the desk. Before I had it standing on I have sort of a tray, you could call it a tray that you can pull out for the keyboard, that you can also push in when you don't need the keyboard anymore. But I put the microphone on the standard Blue Yeti stand down there, because the steering wheel is connected to the desk up at top. So that sort of reduced some of the noise that you can hear from the steering wheel. The problem was that I usually bumped the microphone whenever I sort of drove around with the steering wheel pretty violently, especially when I sort of had to change lane or sort of make a 180 degree turn in a game like Farming Simulator. But I hope that you have enjoyed that this video here was completely free, perhaps not entirely completely, but compared to the other videos, relatively free of noise from the steering wheel. You could probably only hear my voice, perhaps a little bit of the background noise, but that's it. Also, the thing that my microphone has gotten close to my mouth means that you won't hear as much reverberation from the room I'm in. And trust me when I say we have a lot of reverb here in this room here. We have put in some shelves up on and around, and some pictures on the wall, and also a little carpet on the floor, and that helps a little bit. But if you clap your hands in here, you can hear the reverb. It's really noticeable. So getting the microphone relatively close to my mouth means that the reverb will not be that much significant. I have talked enough for now. This video is probably about an hour long or something like that. I hope that you have enjoyed this video, and if you have, please give it a thumbs up, and remember, subscriptions always help me. Not at least because it gives me personal satisfaction. I don't make money on my videos or anything like that. I would probably like to do, because if I have to choose, then I would like to make money of something that I enjoy, and I enjoy making videos, I enjoy playing computers, and obviously I also enjoy editing videos, and so why not try to make money of it? But as it stands now, I'm not doing that. Like I said, I hope that you have enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.